He's the other Republican from Fairfield County who wants to be governor. Why his fight against high property taxes got him into the race. And Connecticut tribes are smoking mad about efforts to limit smoking at their casinos. Why they are threatening to sue and withhold money from the state. And we continue with our Real Story series, Making Their Case, why the state's child advocate and healthcare advocate say their agencies should be spared from Governor Merrell's budget acts. Hello, I'm Shelley Sinland, and you're watching The Real Story. Today, a candidate for governor who is taking his fight against property taxes further than most of us would dare to go. His name is Dr. Scott Merrell, and he is a Republican who wears a cowboy hat and thinks our property taxes are out of control. So high, in fact, he could lose his house because of it. And while he is a man many of us have not heard of before, including the governor, that could soon change. With most Republicans waiting in the wings to see if Governor Jody Merrell will run again. Have you made any decision whether or not you will run?
This is your shtick, huh, Shelley? No, I'm teasing.
One Republican is not waiting. Dr. Scott Merrell, do you know?
Don't know.
The cowboy hat-wearing veterinarian from Norwalk has officially filed his paperwork as a Republican candidate for governor. And while Governor Jody Merrell hasn't heard of him, Lieutenant Governor Mike Fedeli, who lives in Dr. Merrell's neck of the woods, has.
He doesn't really have a house. I think his house is being foreclosed because he didn't pay his taxes.
Well, wait a minute. There's more to this story. Dr. Merrell didn't pay his taxes because he thinks his property taxes are outrageous.
I believe his whole basis, from what I've read, is based on taxes because I guess he feels that the $90,000 that he owes on his house for personal property taxes on the water in Norwalk, it was not correct. The city of Norwalk has foreclosed on it, and I believe he's in the process of being evicted by the new owner.
So now high property taxes are the basis of his gubernatorial campaign, and one this Republican cowboy is willing to hang his hat on. And here now with the real story on why he wants to be governor is Dr. Scott Merrell, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for inviting me on your show.
I said you could wear your cowboy hat. You sure you don't want to?
I've got a lot of fans out there. They say they can't see my eyes when I'm wearing the cowboy hat.
Well, you have to put it on first a little bit so we can get some pictures.
We'll wear the hat.
All right, Dr. Merrell, let's get to this, though. This is a serious fight that you're taking on here, having to do with property taxes.
We're planning on, my attorney's ready to go to the United States Supreme Court if necessary. The city of Norwalk's been extorting money out of me since 1994. I've hired lawyers back and forth. It's been going on for more than 13 years. The state of Connecticut violates the principles of the Magna Carta Clause 29. There's no such thing as speedy justice. And I negotiated a settlement with my attorneys when the city of Norwalk wanted to assess me at double the property tax evaluation. The exact same year I refinanced my house with Chase Manhattan Bank. Chase Manhattan Bank said my house was worth $900,000 or less. The city of Norwalk wanted $1.6 million. So my attorney, who'd been an attorney in Norwalk for 50 years, needed to bring in the mayor's law firm. And with two law firms, why couldn't I get the right assessment?
So how much was your house being assessed for?
I've owned my house for about 10 years and paid $11,500. Then they increased me to $24,000
a year. So you went from $11,000 to
$24,000 with two law firms representing you. Then to $31,000. Then to $33,000. Then to $41,000
a
year. Then to $49,000. Now they want to pay me want me to pay the city of Norwalk $65,000 a year to live in a house that was built in 1945. That in modern parlance is a tear down. I bought it for my mom so my mom could have a water view that the city of Norwalk stole from my parents. That's a different story.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, so that's pretty. First of all, I'd love to see your house if they're charging you what, $50,000-$60,000.
Okay.
But I mean, it's got to be pretty spectacular. But you're saying it's not.
No. Well, it's a nice older home. Okay. I can move to California tomorrow. Okay. They raised me. In other words, I bought a house for less than $1 million. It cost $785,000. They raised me to $3.6 million. Okay. And I've waited since. It's been actually in the court system since 1996.
So
I've never appeared before a judge since 1996.
When is the last time you paid property taxes?
Well, I stopped when the number hit 50,000. I thought that was the end of the road. It's ridiculous.
So you just said, I'm not paying it anymore.
No, I have a right. No. The United States of America is based on English common law. English common law, tax is based on consent. You have a right to withhold consent to pay taxes. The United States income tax system, that's why it's voluntary. They can't force me to pay something that's not even reasonable. You know what I'm saying? It's just not even reasonable.
So you said, I'm not paying it, it's too high, and now they're foreclosing on your home.
My argument is it's extortion.
And
They're extorting money out of me because no matter what you pay the city of Newark, they want to bounce you up. The way the game works, if I would have fought them conventional, like a conventional warfare, we wouldn't have America. You won't have America because General George Washington had the moral courage to fight the Fabian strategy and withdraw out of Brooklyn Heights at midnight. The greatest man that ever lived. He had to do that. He had to fight Fabian to beat the British Tories. I consider our modern politics, it's actually in the dictionary, Tory democracy. That's what we've created. We've come in a government aristocracy class that thinks they're better than the people who work for a living, who pay them.
Well, I would think a lot of people agree with you, and I know a lot of folks in my hometown who would agree with you up in Heartland. However, my question is, when is the last time you paid taxes?
Well, it's been about I think I stopped, well, it keeps going on, but it's been about, I stopped paying when they raised my tax to $50,000.
And that was 1996?
No.
When was it?
Well, they have tricky laws.
All right, no, just answer the question, because I've let you talk a lot. When's the last time you...
I believe it's 2007.
Okay, 2007. So it's been 2 years, and now they're foreclosing on your home. Are you afraid that you're going to lose your home? From what I understand, somebody has bought your home under foreclosure and said that you have to move out.
Okay.
Am I wrong?
You have to, no, you have to have a test case.
Okay.
It took one person, one lady had the moral courage to say she's not getting on the back of the bus. One person had the moral courage. I'm telling the Norwalk group, and I've defined them as the Norwalk group, I'm not paying no more extortion money to you. So my property tax should be somewhere around 8, 9, 10, 11,000, not 49,500, not 65,000. That's not a property tax system. So the reval tax doesn't base on a purchase price. It's just any number the city of Newark wants to make up, and they say, well, let it sit in court for 10 or 15 years. It's not fair.
But are you willing to lose your house because of this?
I'm willing to be a man, and they're not going to surrender my manhood to own a home in the state of Connecticut. When I bought my house...
You're not leaving, period.
No, we're going to fight. That's why I'm running for governor.
Well, okay, so you're going to be governor. What do you do to change the property tax code?
It's already submitted to every state rep, every one of them, 183, and on all 36 state senators. I've already submitted the Merrell Amendment. Solves the problem overnight.
All right, so explain it to me.
I've asked them
explain it to me in layman's terms.
Okay, the Merrell Amendment is basically California property tax law, where your assessment never changes. It's based on the purchase price because that's what you can finance. That's what people can afford. And your tax...
So it locks it in.
Yes, and a statewide mill rate of 13, which is required under law because of the Equal Protection Clause. The state of Connecticut since 1992 has been in violation of Nottinger versus Hahn, which says you cannot fund education by charging differential tax rates. The city of Norwalk does not have the legal authority to charge me double the tax rate of Darien, double the tax rate of Westport, double the tax rate of New Canaan, and 4 times the tax rate of Greenwich, and based on a fraudulent evaluation.
Okay.
If I win, I get them on fraud. That's the plan.
The property tax code, from what I understand, it goes back to colonial times in Connecticut. And Connecticut is one of the few towns in the or states in the nation that bases its tax code and, well, that funds school systems that way. And that's one of the reasons why.
It's illegal, though. I've asked the highest person in the nation, way above the Attorney General, point blank at a meeting at Hartford when I was the first time I attempted to run for governor as an independent. The #1 guy in America ranked. Who's that? Well, I don't want to use the name because I've never got his permission to use it. But in front of all the big shot lawyers in Hartford at that meeting, okay, I asked him point blank, can the city of Newark charge me double the tax rate of Darien, double the tax rate of New Canaan, double the tax rate of Westport? He told me 3 times in a row in front of every lawyer that's prominent attorneys. He says, it's got to be equal, it's got to be equal, it's got to be equal. And I pay 4 times the tax rate of our highest ranking law enforcement man in the state, the Attorney General Richard Blumenthal. It's not legal. Their system isn't legal. So if they want to steal my home based on fraud, that's a criminal conspiracy, really. The city of Newark's known my house never had that value. You know why? because I was represented by 2 lawyers, and they showed him the documents from Chase Manhattan Bank that there wasn't an actual comp of $900,000. The highest number on the document was $900,000. Then why am I forced to pay an evaluation then of $1.2 million when it's only $900,000?
Dr. Merrell, you're not going to believe this, but we're running out of time.
Okay.
So, could you please put your cowboy hat on?
Yeah.
All right. And then this is kind of a lighter subject here.
Okay.
I feel like I need to talk. You know, I live in West Virginia for a little bit, huh?
Right.
Yeah, I think that's great. So
we're a little country.
and I'm a country girl deep down. I am. I'm from Heartland. Governor Merrell, she's a Republican. She's the one that all the Republicans are waiting to see. Will she run again? It doesn't seem like you care too much.
I don't worry about that kind of stuff.
Do you think she's part of the problem?
The country needs complete change, and we need a government like we're supposed to have, a government of the people, not of self-anointed ones that these political parties prearrange. It's like a prearranged marriage. You never get any real choices.
All right, Dr. Merrell.
Thanks for having me on the show.
It was very nice to meet you. I appreciate it, and we'll be hearing from you more.
No, we're going to keep working.
You keep working. All right. Thank you, Dr. Merrell. You take care. Don't go anywhere yet, though. All right. Up next on The Real Story, Bruce Two Dogs Bozo and why he is threatening to sue the state.